How do you know that a team member in your business is accountable? Recruiting any team member can be tricky, no matter what psychometric tests we do, no matter how many interviews or test assessments. We don't really know how they'll perform until they start working for us. I'm Emma King, business owner, coach, and co-founder of the COO Accelerator. I talk a lot in these videos about building a culture of accountability. And if you really want to harness accountability as part of your culture, it's really important that we get it right when it comes to recruitment. Why? Because having a team member who is not a culture fit, it's not only painful for you, but it's just as painful for them too. So how do we increase the chances of hiring someone who is a culture fit? Someone who is happy to be accountable for what they've achieved, but also be accountable when things go wrong or they've made a mistake or missed a deadline. You may have heard other business owners and coaches talking about hiring for culture and training for skill. So today I want to go through some just practical steps that you can take in your business to hire for culture, and specifically a culture where accountability is high up on the list of priorities. The one thing that made a big difference in our business is introducing an application form at the beginning of the recruitment process. This is before we even take a look at a CV. That form has to be completed in order to actually submit their CV online. And in this application, we are only looking to find out about culture and to what degree a person is willing and able to be accountable. So we just select a handful of questions, and it's amazing how telling people's answers are. So I'm going to give you a few examples and kind of some details about what we're looking for in the answers that a candidate might give. And my all-time favourite is asking somebody to describe a mistake they have made at work and ask, how did it make you feel and what did you do about it? What we're looking for here is, first off, that they admit to the mistake. That shows honesty and transparency. Then we want them to tell you how it made them feel. And what we don't want here is someone who shrugs it off and says, oh, I'm only human, everyone makes mistakes. But we don't also want someone who becomes emotionally expensive and causes drama. We're looking for someone to say how it made them feel, what the result was, what the impact was. And then finally, we're looking for the lessons. What did they do about it? What did they learn? And were they able to change their perspective or change the way they were doing things to be more successful in the future? My second favourite question is, tell us about a time when you saw somebody else make a mistake at work. Here you're looking for what actions that person took. What you're not looking for is answers like, well, I immediately told the boss it was an opportunity for me to shine, or it's nothing to do with me, their job, their mistake, up to them. Or even worse, oh, I told everybody about it and we started to watch them more closely, see what other mistakes they were making or what else they were getting wrong. The problem with all of these answers is that the applicant isn't demonstrating what's best for the business. What we're looking for is someone who to step in and say, hey, I can see that we might have a problem here. How can I help? This shows teamwork, integrity, and someone who is solution orientated and will put the goals of the business above any personal gain. Another great question, especially if you have a remote team, is what are the pros and cons of a remote workforce? And it's important that you word this one right, because if you word it, what are the pros and cons of working from home? You're not going to get that balanced argument. What we're looking for is someone to give a viewpoint from both the employers and employees' perspective. So we're looking for a business case. For example, pros might be save time commuting, access to talent globally, not just in your local area, lower turnover due to work-life balance being really good. Cons might include things like team members feeling isolated, blurring work-life boundaries, decreased collaboration. So that's just 3 questions that you can use in the first stage of your hiring process. For us, only then do we look at CVs. And the reason for this is if you look at the CVs first, it's easy to see somebody who is really experienced, really capable, a high performer in certain ways. And then that kind of creates a bias so that you become blind to signs that they're not a culture fit. So you do the application form, the CV. The next step for us is a telephone interview. And the Not everyone gets a telephone interview. We do a sift at this point. But in the interview, it gives you a chance to, first of all, really sell the business, sell the role, get them excited about what to come and work for you, but also to follow up on those culture questions and also check in on the skills and experience on the CV. So if, for example, a candidate has answered, one of the cons of a remote workforce is feeling isolated, a great follow-up question would be, so how would you deal with that? What are the solutions? And here you're looking for answers such as regular meetings, regular one-to-ones, access to information, having processes in place, all the things that contribute to a culture of accountability. If they touch on trust as being one of the cons of having a remote workforce, kind of, are you trusting that work is being done when you can't see the person? And the solution here might be having a scorecard, daily huddles to agree what has to be achieved by the team that day, monthly meetings in person, quarterly offsites. Once you've completed the application form, you've reviewed the CV, you've had a telephone interview, only then do we have an actual face-to-face interview. And after that, they might have some more test assessments and a final interview if you want them to present to you. But the last final step in the whole recruitment process is getting references. And all too often, especially in small businesses, that is the step that is missed. Because as business owners, especially when recruitment is hard and there's not as much talent available at the moment, we seem to get so excited about getting the person on board that we kind of think, oh yeah, well, we're a good judge of character, we've got it covered, or it's just that last bit of detail that we don't want to do. But it is such a vital part of the recruitment process. And it's a great opportunity to follow up and check up on some of the answers that you've been given. So you can ask a previous employer, for example, tell me about a time you had to give the applicant some feedback. How did they take it? Tell me about a time the applicant made a mistake. How did they handle it? Now, not all previous employees will be forthcoming, but their responses will give you an insight into previous performance when it comes to accountability. So why is all this so important? The truth is recruitment is expensive, even when you hire the right people. But it's even more expensive if you hire the wrong person. So it's worth putting the time and effort into your recruitment process. So there we have it. Recruiting for culture isn't rocket science. You just have to be clear about what an A player looks like for you, and then create a recruitment process that will set you up for success.